wisdom, age, old man, they're all the same thing.
Learning from my mistakes.
And hopefully so others don't make my mistakes, ideally. But hey, we're rolling. We're hot. We are
at Casa Verde.
We're at Casa Verde, where we belong. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind recording out of the van when we need to.
Yeah, it's nice.
But this is definitely my preference.
It's so much more peaceful.
I do have the cinnamon oil. If there was a couple skeeters flying around, but I expected to get bombarded, and it's not happening yet.
It's not terrible. We set out last night. Got home, I don't know, about 6:30 or so, and did a couple of things, and then it was an incredible sunset last night. Incredible. And it was so cool because, we'll sit right outside the garage and watch the sunset. But there was, because that faces west, and there was also a storm building to the southwest. So there was lightning going on over here, and there was this gorgeous sunset going on over here.
Very nice.
And it actually got chilly. It was like 66 degrees by the time we came in. I was just like, this is the end of May? What is going on? Pretty nice.
Soak it up while you can, because at some point it's going to change, and it's going to get hot. But so what? I think this is 144. I think.
I have no clue.
I don't know.
I need to just get a Post-it note and put it on.
I know. But so like today, we're going to talk Unbound Gravel for sure.
Oh, it's unavoidable.
Predictions, preview.
Rumors.
Oh, we're talking about it. I don't care if they're supposed. If we're not supposed, we're going to.
I'm not under what's it called?
Embargo. Hell no. Let's start. Let's start there.
I'm unbound. I don't.
I will let you share the rumor as you've heard it.
I heard from a very reliable source who can't defend himself that there's going to be a top tier pro on a 32 at Unbound this year. And I cannot wait to see how all of that shakes out.
I'm excited by that. I really am.
I think we called this like 6 months ago.
I think we did. I will say this, and I mean, I'm going to drop the details if you're not.
Well, I was going to slow play it a little bit, but go for it.
Let's front load it.
Tag team it.
Let's front load it. So I was not expecting Scott to be the bike.
Well, I did not know it was Scott, so that's news to me.
Oh, is that news to you?
Well, are you putting two and two together?
The rumor I've heard is Scott is the brand that will be rolling the 32 with a top tier pro.
That's one of the few manufacturers I have not seen any 32-inch products from. So
actually, Scott's been really hush hush.
Yeah.
And I don't think our friend's there anymore, but I'm not sure of that. I'm not positive. I tried to.
Agero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not positive. So I would, once I heard the rumor, I was hoping to reach out to him, and it's like, it may not be there anymore. But
you don't follow him on LinkedIn?
I don't. I'm there.
I don't LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't. Sorry, it was a poor joke.
So I heard Scott, and I also heard top tier, which my fingers are crossed. It's Cam Jones.
That's the rumor.
So that would be really cool because he disrupted the hell out of the field last year by winning the championship as a young kid wild card.
And I have to extrapolate and believe. Let's just assume that this is not a rumor, that this is true. Going off of just that thought process, it makes me just contemplate, like, nobody's going to take a bike to a race that they don't think they can win with. If you're a top tier pro, you're not doing it just for appeal and exposure and stuff.
I will disagree with that. At those levels.
But do you think? Here's where I was getting at. I'm sorry to interrupt. I would expect for them to have spent some time on said bike and feel confident with it. Is what I mean.
Ideally, yes. Probably yes.
Yeah.
That said, depending on what their package is like with their sponsor, if the sponsor's like, hey, we know the bike's not ready yet, but we need the exposure,
fair.
They could twist their arm into it.
That's fair.
And the reality is, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Cam wants to have the best performance he possibly could.
100%.
But my guess is, even though he's young, he's already been entrenched in this group well enough to know that sort of exposure, even if he ends up with less than ideal performance this weekend, that sort of exposure pays long-term dividends for him.
Well, I'm going to extrapolate even further.
Oh,
if there's going to be one pro on a 32-inch, it's not going to be just one pro. I think if the rumor is true, which I firmly believe it to be, that I think we should expect no less than 3 to 5 32-inch bikes in this race.
If it weren't Scott that we're rolling out with it, I would agree with you.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
If it were Specialized, if it were Trek, if it were Canyon.
Well, no, I'm going to flip it, because I think if Specialized has a 32-inch in the works, and we know Cannondale does, and Trek probably does, if they caught a rumor that Scott was going to be debuting a 32-inch, I think that they would be rushing to get their bike there as well.
When would they have heard of it? Maybe they didn't hear about it until 2 weeks ago. So if their bike's 6 months out, they can't turn it around in a week and a half.
But they could prototype something and put a sticker on it, decal.
May not be worth it, though.
Why not? But
may not. I know it's fascinating. It's going to be interesting.
I've said that from the beginning. Regardless of what happens, it's going to be interesting.
Yes.
I hope we haven't said all this and there's 0 32 inches there.
I would actually enjoy that, because I would make for a really good topic of discussion next week.
I have to ask you though, what was the interest in the link you sent this morning about that was just the live tracker for Unbound?
It was just the start list.
Okay.
The elites that are actually, I couldn't find start lists I was hoping to find the XL start list to see who Justin's stacking up against. But it was just the elite list, men's and women's.
So I had a question about it then, now that I know that.
Okay.
This is a completely ignorant question, so feel free to berate me.
Go for it.
But there's 67 female racers, and I noticed that the bib numbers start at 5.
I didn't pay any attention to the bib numbers.
Well, I didn't. Does that mean that the top 4 finishers from last year, or the top 4 people that registered for the elites aren't showing up? Or I don't know what that means. Is that indicative of something?
I have no idea about that.
Okay.
I didn't look at the bib numbers. I didn't notice anyone missing.
Yeah, I did not either.
So
I can't remember. But in the men's, it starts at 29. So I didn't know if that was a telltale of something.
I don't know. We'll maybe if we get somebody that races in the elite stuff, maybe we'll get them to clarify that for us. I should have made a point to get Jonas to join us today. I didn't think about that till after we were done Saturday. That would have made an interesting conversation. And he's pretty fascinating. So I'm wishing him the best of luck, no doubt. I'm wishing Dylan the best of luck.
No.
But both of them are wild cards.
Yeah.
So Dillman, would love to see him do well. But I think the reality is it's going to be the ones that are actually in the Grand Prix, not the wild cards. But hey, Cam Jones proved us wrong last year on that one.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting. There's a bunch of wild card talent in the mix there.
It really is.
Has got potential to disrupt this weekend, particularly
Adam Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts is there. He'll sit in till the end if you give him a chance.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say about 32s. You're going to have an automatic friend if somebody's on a 32, because everybody's going to want to draft off of you.
Good chance of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what the course conditions are, because they've been getting slammed up there for the past week.
And they put in a new section of road this year. It's the first year they're debuting. I forgot the name of the road. You have to forgive me. But I saw some drone footage of it, and I was like, ooh, this is a real B road. I mean, it's rutted, like cavernous in the center, so it's only double track, and it's, chunk on chunk on chunk. And they may end up eliminating it because of all the rain they've had. I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
it'll be interesting to see how all of that shakes out.
yeah.
And it'll be interesting to, and if it does end up being a mud year, it'll be interesting to see what the crowd has to say after the fact. Yet again,
I will say that if it's a mud year, I don't think 32 is the way to go.
probably. Yeah. So, and the one thing that the start list did allow me, and I thought this was the case, and it did verify it. I think I know it's in the women's. I think it's men's and women's.
Mhm.
If you sort the men's by age, Lauren is definitely the oldest female that's in the Grand Prix. I think she might be the oldest athlete that's officially in the Grand Prix.
I don't think you're supposed to talk about a woman's age.
When it's posted right there. No, I'm saying that's interesting.
It's not nice.
Is it?
No, I don't know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I think it's pretty interesting.
That's a 17-year-old in the elite.
Yeah, quick age again. So that it does it by.
This is the men's.
That's what I want to see
49 is the oldest
in the elite.
in the elite men's.
But
It's water.
yeah, that's elite. I want to see who's actually in the Grand Prix though. See the
Oh.
wild card, elite, wild card. So find the first one that's an actual lifetime Grand Prix.
Right here.
No, that's wild card.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I can't read. Right here. Andrew L'Esperiance,
35.
35.
So yeah, Lauren's the oldest lifetime Grand Prix athlete by several years.
Still killing it.
Oh, no doubt. I think she's got a really good chance to podium.
I would lose my shit if she podiumed. God.
I mean,
I hope
she
they have
podiumed
great
Sea
weather.
Otter.
Yeah. I hope they have great weather. I hope they have a great, clean race. I can't wait to watch the coverage.
And I don't know Lauren's mud experience. Matt knows how to race mud, so
Yeah.
he's gonna share everything he knows with her and set her up with the right
Yeah.
tire setup and everything else if it's muddy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's not her strength. I think she's ultimately stronger.
Let's just have a gander at the weather for importing the 10-day.
Yeah. Well, no, just 5 days should do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
5 days should do
I
it.
have to look at the 10-day to get the 5-day.
I'm kind of struggling with that for this weekend for our stuff as well, because down south in around Itasca and Hillsboro's been getting. I haven't been able to get down there to even scout a route yet.
Yeah.
So,
We drove to Mississippi on Thursday, and I'm telling you, the last 3.5, 4 hours.
I figured you were going through it.
It was just white knuckle. So it looks like they're forecasted on Thursday to get 3/4 of an inch of rain, and then Friday there's a 50% with like a 1/10 of an inch falling. Saturday there's a 30%, and Sunday there's 31%.
Okay. And that can literally get turned upside down between now and then anyway.
Yeah,
this time of year.
It could double or half.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It like I said, it's going to be interesting regardless. I'm not wishing my life away, but I can't wait.
I'm excited. I may have to break out the Starlink and do watch the live coverage of it.
Yeah.
While the riders are out riding on Saturday.
Put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so we are not disturbed. Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. Where is...
So over under on elite lifetime Grand Prix athletes combined, male and female.
Uh-huh.
Over under on number of 32-inch bikes in the field this weekend.
So just to clarify what I said earlier, I think if we see one in that group, I don't think we're going to see a female on a 32-inch bike.
Okay.
But I think if we see one in the male group, we will see 3.
All right. So you're putting the over under at 3?
I think so.
I will take the under.
Okay.
I will take the under.
Well, let's make it interesting. What are we?
A bottle of whiskey.
Oh, okay. I told my mom that story last night.
Which story?
About me buying that bottle of Buffalo Trace when we were in California, thinking, well, this will last us the rest of the trip. And I said, and Kevin just turned into a whole different person, was goating me, like, put some more whiskey in your glass, bitch. I was like, who is this guy? And I told her, I was like, before I knew it, we drank the whole fucking bottle. I said, what happened?
Oh, come on. You've heard my Riches and Ron stories
Well, we
about.
drank that a whole bottle of Lefroy 10 that
Yeah.
night when we were camping at Isle du Bois or Johnson Branch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Don't go camping with me with a bottle of hooch
Man.
unless you want to drain it.
Man. So I still want to talk about Unbound, but I think there's going to be more to talk about, obviously, after the race has been ran.
Well, I mean, if you got more to, do you have anything specific you want to talk about?
No,
Okay.
I just speculations abound, you know.
What other I haven't heard what other speculations
well,
are out there.
I'm just still. Are you saying it's Scott because? And forgive me because I don't know everybody's alliances, but because Cam Jones is a Scott rider.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. I honestly didn't know that. And then is Keegan's not with Santa Cruz
No,
anymore.
he's specialized.
See, that's where it could get very interesting. Because I have no doubts that Specialized is sitting on a 32-inch bike. That's probably obviously pre-production, but I have to believe that they're testing a fleet of 32-inch bikes for geometry and fit and everything else. And I bet they have one that they could make ready for Unbound if they think someone else is going to steal the spotlight.
Potentially.
And I think, going back to what I said, if Scott is going to debut one at Unbound, Specialized is not going to sit idly by and let them get the spotlight.
No, I do follow that logic, and
Yeah.
I don't disagree with it.
However,
However,
the contradictory.
However, whereas I could see Scott would want to.
But Scott doesn't do anything half-baked.
Again, desperate times, and I'm not saying Scott's desperate. I'm just saying the industry, desperate times.
Yeah. Agreed.
They may take a flyer just for the attention aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Specialized is more likely to not just unveil for the sake of unveiling. That they want, when they roll theirs out, they want it to win that race.
I think if I'm Specialized, I want to, at the very least, share all the hoopla and spotlight that will be cast upon 32-inch wheel appearance at Unbound.
Okay.
But
what if the 32 appearance ends up being total dog shit? The wheel tacos or
the frame breaks,
the frame breaks, or
the fork fails,
or Cam Jones ends up in 80th place. You know,
it's still going to be the talk of the race.
It'll be the talk of the race, but then if it screws the pooch, then it's counterproducctive.
I mean, it's a gamble, no matter how you look at it.
Maybe,
you know,
maybe I don't know.
Or maybe it's a 8-watt advantage. Who knows?
I'm fascinated.
You know? Yes.
So here's my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my prediction. There will be 32s. I'm still taking my under. There'll be 2.
Okay.
And it's going to be a mud year. So what's going to happen is it's going to be, nobody's going to know what that means for 32s at that point.
What a cliffhanger.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna make my prediction even more involved. If it's a mud year, I don't think, and in fact, I'm gonna say even this. I bet that if it is indeed Cam Jones and Scott, I guarantee that he's bringing a 29-inch
backup.
And if it's a mud year, they're going to keep the 32-inch.
That would be a 7. Or is it 700 or is it 29 in gravel speak these days?
I think even mountain bikes are going to 700 speak.
Are they?
Yeah, it's like 700 by 62. You know.
Okay.
So
yeah, and gravel bikes are now 600s or 60s, kind of the standard on the tire. But you can't call it a mountain bike tire, and you can't. It has to be 60, not 2.4, whatever it is.
That's why they changed it to fit into that lane.
Oh my gracious! My allergies. My nose is just itching all the time.
I have been sneezing, and my allergies are acting up. It's It's pollen season. In other bike news,
Okay.
right after we closed down the podcast last week, we were talking Austin last week, right?
Correct.
It wasn't even 6 hours later. Caleb sent me, no, it wasn't even 2 hours later. Caleb sent the link where Niner folded up shop. They ceased production. They not laid off. They let everybody go.
They let everybody go.
And they said,
And they're like, we're not coming back.
yeah,
We're going to focus on huffing. They literally said, we're going to focus
Yeah.
on huffing.
I said it earlier, but ever since Damahidi and Sagai left, that company's been struggling, and I think it's changed hands 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's just part of a private equity umbrella company now.
Yeah.
It's a brand name. It's a logo.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you
Flag
touched,
flyer. Yeah.
as you touched on, and maybe that was before we started recording.
Yeah.
If 32 is the thing, can Niners still call itself Niners?
Can.
And maybe that's what the root of it. Maybe it's like, well, this name doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that 32 inch is the future of cycling, and it's not like 5 years from now everybody's going to be on a 32
Right,
bike.
but
you can't rightly.
But that was Niners' kickstart into the
Sure.
industry. It was definitive.
They were the first production 29er frame.
No, they weren't the first production, but
Well,
it's still the Fisher stuff.
oh yeah. Well, it's true.
That was the first mass production stuff. But Niner they were the first bike brand to be exclusively 29er.
Yes.
Uh,
It was my first 29er. It was a niner.
you know, how many times did you break it?
I honestly lost count. I think I went through at least 7 or 8 frames. They had their issues. But I will say this. All the Crank Brothers, they had a great warranty. They never gave me a hard time about replacing my frame. I ended up buying a couple of frames. I think the last time they replaced my frame, I said, hey, why don't you guys just go ahead and give me a jersey and let's make it official, since you've given me 6 frames so far.
Right.
But I liked the Niners so much, in fact, that when I had my Soulcraft built back in 2012, I met with Sean at Soulcraft. I actually was in the area, stopped by and had some beers with him and chit-chatted, saw his shop. It was such a cool experience. And I was telling him about how I wanted to design this frame. And he goes, well, what do you have in the mind of geometry? Because he was going to build a full custom frame.
Right.
And I said, look, I'm not even going to lie to you. I've been on a Niner for probably 8 years at that time or so. And I said, I want this exact geometry. I don't want to limit your coloring palette, so to speak. I don't want to tie your hands, but this geometry works so well for me that I at least want to start here. So big kudos to where Niner ended up with their geometry, although it's antiquated by today's
standards. But they were the first ones to get the geometry figured out.
In my opinion, it was the best riding bike I had at the time, and that I ever threw a leg over. That was a 29-inch mountain bike. Yeah. Now, they had some flex issues back in the day, which led to a lot of my chain dropping issues. And I think that was also why their frames cracked so much, They were using, was it Easton? Reynolds 853, which is great tubing set. And I don't know what their hangups were. And then also their EBB left a little bit to be desired.
Is there an EBB that hasn't?
Yeah, Phil Wood makes a great EBB.
They make the top of the list, but it's still EBBs.
Yeah. I mean,
don't get me wrong, and I'm an EBB fan.
Yeah. Well,
conceptually.
So I'm going to argue with you on that.
Okay.
Just because it's you and me. I think sliding
we
drop
never
offs.
argue. You're full of shit.
But EBBs, when you think about it, when you change a gear, you're effectively moving your entire geometry.
Agreed.
So I think a sliding dropout, you're going to change the handling characteristics of the bike by lengthening or shortening effectively the chain stays.
Yes.
However, you're not going to change your rider position.
EBB changes the fit.
Yeah.
And sliders change the bike geometry.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm a slider over EBB
pick
100% of the
pick
time.
your poison, and I should actually qualify that. In mountain bike world, I'm EBB because I want my chainstays to be my chainstays, particularly on a custom bike. But also in mountain bike world, I'm moving around so much, it's not as critical. I mean, realistically, I'm not one that changes the cog every ride to begin with. So once I get my position, I can tweak and adjust on mountain bike side. Now, on gravel or road, I am definitely a slider guy because I need that fit position to be the fit position.
I'm slider 100. I hate to use absolutes, but I don't ever see a scenario where I would go back willingly to an EBB. It's just a point of failure.
I'm actually agreeing with you in that I prefer sliders overall.
Yeah.
But I do like the concept of the EVB. It just, unfortunately, 98% of them don't
Are wrought with issues.
have issues.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the problem.
I think it was a graceful solution for the time. I never had one, but I was intrigued by the EBB rear hub that White Industries did.
I thought that was a neat idea, but is that still around?
I think they probably still make them.
I just never heard it really go anywhere.
Yeah. And the other news,
Well, speaking of sliders, is that where you're going?
Paragon. We know Paragon closed up shop. And who was the company?
I can't
Out of
remember.
Portland?
I can't remember his name now.
Yeah. I forgot.
Do a Google search and I'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
Paragon is rising from the ashes.
I love this.
Thank
Makes me so happy.
Goodness, when I watched that video, I was smiling.
Man, me too.
I was so happy. So yeah, just do a Google search for Paragon.
Yeah.
Whatever. What is it, Paragon Machine Works or whatever they were called. But they're back. Is the short answer. It's a custom bike builder in Portland that I guess was a big customer of theirs to begin with, and he's taken a lot of their
First-hand frame building.
first-hand frames.
Yeah. He's buying their entire stock, all their machinery, and he's going to continue their legacy.
And their IP, their intellectual property.
Yes.
But I mean, he's, what's already in their bins and shelves, yes, he'll have that available. But as far as making new stuff, he's going to prioritize it by the most popular. So
Sure.
some stuff may go out of stock and may be a while before it comes back, but I'm pretty sure sliders will be at the top of the list.
Yeah. When he did his breakdown of his own personal bike that was just hanging above his head in his workshop, and he said there's 22 individual components that come from Paragon. That just put it in perspective. And I've been saying this for so long. Like, Paragon is one of the unsung heroes in custom cycling. The fact that anybody that has a custom bike doesn't know who Paragon Machine Works is a travesty, because they've been in the industry for 40 something years.
Right.
And they've quietly made some of the best pieces of bikes for that long. I mean, bottom brackets, head to.
When I saw Paragon was going under, it's like this is the end of an era.
Yeah.
So
it made me cry.
This makes me happy.
Yes.
And
Well, it was inevitable. I hope that no matter what, someone was going to swoop in and go, "Hey, this needs to continue."
Mike, and this is just me guessing.
I was hoping Paul was going to do it.
Well, maybe they're having issues too.
Yeah. Lucy, go get me some more coffee.
Go get you some coffee if you need to.
I'm going to go get it in just a second.
Okay. When you sent me that video on firsthand buying them, it was like, oh man, this is what we need to focus back. We need custom bikes.
Yeah.
Need to be the priority for the passionate and the enthusiasts.
Support the builders.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Obviously, custom bikes aren't going to be carbon, though, and everybody thinks they want carbon.
I mean, if you're a racer and you get a new bike every year, I think we've had this discussion. Carbon's the way to go.
Well, okay, but the reality is the real racers that carbon really matters for is that much of the market.
Sure.
Is now, obviously, there's this huge part of the market that thinks they want to have all the racer stuff.
Yeah.
They would be much happier on something
Custom steel, custom tie.
custom steel, custom tie.
Even custom aluminum,
Is there custom aluminum?
Maybe I said, I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
I would be interested to look at that.
Well,
like I said, so
let's Google it.
we're going to Made. Make your calendar open. We're going to Made.
Custom aluminum.
I would be fascinated by custom aluminum. I'm still fascinated by the 3D printed titanium.
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand how that works. So, and with basically the minimum tire size for everything now being 45 millimeter, even on road.
Oh, I think it's. I think
aluminum could be.
I think custom. I mean, I think 45 is not even the minimum anymore. Anybody that's putting out a bike right now.
I said road.
Road.
Gravel,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
50. Gravel's 50.
Oh,
yeah.
Bear, yeah.
Road is creeping up to 42 and 45 even, which is I'm fine with.
Well, I remember 8 years ago ish when it was a huge shift in cycling when everybody started going on road, going to 28s.
Yes.
And it was because they started to figure out the aerodynamics that you could hide the wheel behind the tire, and especially with disc brakes, you could now make the tire seamlessly mold into the rim essentially, and it just made more sense from an aerodynamics standpoint, So,
I mean,
and that was huge back then. People were like 28s; those were gigantic, and now everybody's on 40s.
Yeah. So way back in the day, well, my first gravel bike, it was that. I don't know if you remember it. It was, I can't even remember what, Crossfoco, I think, or something like. It was a Czechoslovakian Columbus Foco cyclocross frame, and I stuck 42 gator skins on that thing. Oh my God, that was so cushion, could roll over anything.
Yeah.
And it was just so comfortable. It was like, man, that was my road bike for a while too. And that's when I was as strong as I ever got. So, I was able to play in the packs and stuff like that. Had fun with that. We had the old Trek. What's the word for the 2-person bike?
Tandem.
Thank you.
I'm here for you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Concussion head engaged. We had the old Trek Tandem, big old steel, and that had 42s on it.
Yeah.
And it was so comfortable. Big old heavy steel frame with them big old balloon tires on it.
Well, just for the youngsters, just to let everybody know where we came from. Road bikes. A road bike when I was a young cyclist had 18s. 18s.
Yes.
You couldn't pay a top level tier pro to ride 18s nowadays.
No.
They would laugh. In fact, I don't even know if anybody makes 18s anymore.
No, and tubulars.
Yeah, tubulars. Yeah. I mean, it was great because the tube that you carried was like this big,
right?
But getting it in and out without pinching it and
well, that was that's when the theory was, it's all about the rolling resistance. So you want as small of a contact patch,
and you want 120 psi,
125 if you can get away with it.
Just riding on absolute bricks,
with zero traction,
and just getting the shit beat out of you the whole time. We've come a long way.
We have come a long way, and everything keeps going in the direction Kevin said it should be going on 20 years ago now. That's when I built it. When I built that cross Foco, it's like, and that one was still rim brake. It's like, if I had this in disc, that would be awesome. So it was, and we're getting there. We're getting there. Or we got there. What is going to be the next big thing in bikes besides 32-inch wheels? Or is 32 that's going to be just the technology focus for the next 5 or 6 years anyway, and everything else just kind of has to wait for it to do its thing?
I think 32 is going to steal the spotlight and the attention for quite some time. And like I said before, I think we're going to start to see a lot of support for it in the way of, Harp Tool is, I don't know if they already currently do have truing stands for 32. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that has to be made for 32. DT Swiss is going to have to support the spoke market. I don't know if rim or hub standards are going to change. There's a lot of minute things that are going to change within the cycling industry in order for 32-inch to be a successful platform. And I think everybody's kind of waiting to see how successful 32 actually is. I think Sea Otter was a big, almost canary in the coal mine, just to kind of keep pushing it out there,
right,
put it in everybody's face, and kind of see what the reception of it was in the thought process. Yeah. And I think that once it's proven itself, so to speak, I think we'll start to see a lot more of these ancillary components and support mechanisms show up. I think that's going to be the focus for at least the next 2 to 3 years,
Not to totally go off on a different tangent, but I'm going to anyways. Since you brought up DT Swiss, are you familiar with the DT Swiss version of the Dynamo Hub?
No.
So basically, I think it's.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I did watch a video on it.
I think it's the Sun internals, but it's DT Swiss case. It's a sexy dynamo.
Let's look it up.
It's like, wait a minute. I'm anti-dynamo hub, but I might could go that direction. But it's lighter, it's stronger, it's sexier looking, but
it looks like a Shutter Precision.
Maybe it's Shutter Precision. Maybe it's Shutter Precision internals. I couldn't remember which internals it was. But
yeah, that looks like a Shutter Precision hub to me.
When they were showing them side by side, and whatever the internals it was from was a much clunkier looking hub than the DT Swiss version.
Design in cooperation with Shutter Precision.
Okay. And is Shutter Precision the good one, or is Sun the good one?
Sun's the good one.
Okay.
I ended up, so I initially built my wheel up with the Shutter Precision. I'm trying to remember, it's been so long ago. And Shutter Precision, the engagement on it I can't speak to it now, was so harsh that you literally could not spin the hub like when it was just a hub. And so when you were rolling that hub, there was so much resistance.
There was always resistance.
And it was like, it was a ratchet almost. You could feel it. Now with Sun, the beauty of it is when you have it off, it freewheels. And when you turn it on, then it has a little resistance. The Shutter Precision didn't give a shit if it was powering anything or not. It was always robbing power from you.
Mm-hmm.
But mine ended up failing. I don't even know. But they had a bad run of them for a while. And I'm sure they got all that ironed out just because they're still in existence.
Well, now that we're starting to go this direction and what we're talking, what's grand depart for Tour Divide this year?
I don't know. I didn't get an invite.
Look it up, because we're going to have to do a Tour Divide preview episode as well. And
yeah.
I think we might end up talking about 32s for that one.
I think that is definitely June 12th.
So coming up,
we should start seeing bikes for that.
I said we're probably getting to the point where we should be getting videos of rigs. And when does bike packing?
Previous Tour Divide rig roundup. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
When does the rig roundup usually drop? That week?
It's usually a week and a half out, or a week out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's a week out, that would work out well for content.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll start seeing them. I think we'll start seeing them more than a week out because a lot of people get there early to acclimate. A lot of people ride from the line up to Banff for the start. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. I forgot it was that close.
Have you heard any news or rumors or anything in Tour Divide land? I haven't heard anything about it this year, to be honest.
Well, going back to the Dynamo Hub, I can only imagine that a 32-inch is going to power a Dynamo Hub a lot easier once you get it rolling.
One would think.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to grab my coffee real quick.
All right. And while he's grabbing his coffee, I'm going to top off my water and tell stories about Brad and how much of a pain in the ass he is. Just kidding. You know better than that. That was quick. I couldn't talk about you behind your back.
You can talk about me in my face. I don't care.
So how long's your mom here?
At least 2 weeks.
Okay.
She's got to have cataract surgery, and it's cost prohibitive for her to do it here, even though there's much better doctors and everything here. It would be out of network for her. So when she's got a follow-up appointment, I think on June 11th. I think that's when it is. So I'm going to get her home before then, and then we're going to try to schedule her, at least her first appointment where I can be there to drive her and to help her on her recovery. And then she has a good friend that's probably going to help her with the second one. But they're telling her she might not even need glasses after she has cataract surgery because it's lens replacement. A lot of people don't say that, but so basically they can just cyborg your freaking eyes and voila, you can see.
My dad had the process. Our friend Rich had the process. Yeah. And I think both of them were like finding excuses to not do it. But both of them were like, ultimately, when they did do it, it's like, why didn't I do this years ago sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Because right now the doctor literally told her, you should not be driving because you can't see. So
then she most assuredly should not be driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you had something to point me to next time I'm in Natchez?
Yeah, there's a po' boy shop there called Wardo's. Cool story. I won't bore you with all the details, but when you walk in there, you almost feel like you're in New Orleans.
Okay.
And when you eat any of their po' boys or muffaladas.
Ooh, I'm a fan of the muffalata. Or a real muffalata.
Yeah, you will feel like you're in New Orleans. It's become my new mandatory whenever I make it to Natchez.
I almost specifically went through Natchez on the way back from Florida a few weeks back. I was actually pointed that way, and it was the coin toss thing. It was like, it's probably a worthwhile stop, but damn, I want to be home, sort of thing. So
yeah,
it's like we just kept barreling home.
I get that
sort of thing. But yeah, my mom fell again, so she broke her leg the other day. So we'll probably be making a trip that way soon. Jan's going for sure. Not sure how long she's going to be in the hospital. Obviously, if she's in the hospital or assisted living, dealing with it, there's no point in me being there for that. But Jan's going to be that way regardless to see her family and so forth. So we'll definitely be going to Florida again.
It's tough taking care of aged parents.
It's tough taking care of aged me.
Yeah. Yeah. I told my boys the other day, I said, this is why I've been so nice to you. I hope that you're nice to me.
Well, isn't that the cliche,
changed your diaper so you can change mine?
Yeah. If you're an ass to your kids, they're going to be an ass to you when you need them most, sort of thing. So
I forgot. My cousin said to her mom one time, she said, hey, you keep it up, I'm going to put your ass in a home. Like just messing with her, What else is the cycling? There was something else I wanted to talk about. Talked about Unbound, talked about Paragon, talked about Niner, Scott, Rumors, 32. There was something. Oh, Pidcock is back on the mountain bike for the mountain bike series. Oh, shit. Sorry, that was me.
All good. Don't worry about
I
it.
saw a blurb of Tom Pidcock back, looking strong.
Have you heard any? I know we bring him up almost every episode and indirectly sometimes, but I still haven't heard anything about Lachlan of anything he's up to.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even look. Oh, look at that. Wins.
What a shock.
Men's mountain bike race.
Mountain bike
World Series race, and I'm not even going to try it.
That's something that I think is going to be interesting for 2027. Is it seems that there's a concerted effort to make Traka the premier gravel event of the world.
I don't even know. Oh, yeah.
The Spanish one a few weeks ago.
I didn't even look to see if Lachlan was on the elite men's for Unbound.
No, I'm almost positive he's not. I glanced through it and the name didn't jump out at me, but I didn't. I think we'd have heard about it by now. That's what I'm saying. I haven't, and yeah, maybe he's having adulting stuff, or maybe it's family time. I don't know.
I think he's just busy being such a badass dude.
Maybe.
He is one. Not that I wouldn't love to sit down with tons of pros, but he just strikes me as one of the guys I would love to sit down and have a beer with. He just seems like
No doubt about it.
True sweetheart of a man, you know? But I'm curious to know what he's doing. But back to Traka, because how long's this race been going on? Where does it take place? What's the...
It's in Spain.
Uh-huh.
I'm not completely up to speed on it. It is part of the Gravel Earth series, which, so Gravel Earth is trying to be the international lifetime Grand Prix, is what they're trying to do. So, and my guess is the Euros would love for that to be the case for, the true premier event or series.
So this is like the European version of Lifetime?
Well, Traka is kind of the European version of Unbound.
But this says it's
It's part of a Traka
5-course series.
The Traka is one of the. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Gravel Earth series is the series, and Traka is one of the events. So Gravel Earth is kind of like the Lifetime for the series aspect, where Lifetime actually owns all of their own events. That's what's different. These are individual.
But this says in 2026, 5 events around Europe will carry the By the Traka seal, offering riders the same authentic experience that defines Girona's gravel scene.
Okay, well maybe they have rebranded Gravel Earth then.
Yeah,
it's maybe.
Yeah.
It would
See, it says By the Traka, By the Traka, By the Traka.
Okay, so they've rebranded Gravel Earth. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the Traka Lifetime.
Yeah,
that's the international version of Lifetime.
I said,
you were right.
For once,
right. It happens occasionally.
I'm like a leap year correction.
But I mean they've had their controversies too. I think they screwed over the Rift Loft. I thought that was pretty crappy of them. That was Gravel Earth, I assume. So that's my opinion. I don't know all the business dealings of it, but it was like it seemed like they were kind of holding the Rift hostage. The Rift was one of their events one year, and then it wasn't, and then they go and basically replace it with their own version of the Rift 2 weeks before the Rift. So it was like, man, that's bullshit. And then the Traka itself, which is the main event, the Girona one.
Yeah.
They had, it's like, it seems the spirit of gravel has probably never really made its way into Europe. They have a lot of course cutting controversy with the results this year and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I think that's going to be a big topic in 2027 through 2026, but I think it's going to be Traka versus Unbound is going to really be a discussion point next year, which is the real premier.
Well, I think Europeans are very hungry for gravel events, noted by the participation at Unbound and other Lifetime events. You have a bunch of Europeans coming over.
Oh,
to participate.
gosh, yes.
Yeah. So if they can have it on their own continent, it would only make sense. it seems.
I mean, they have gravel over there. What they're trying to do is make the premier event.
That's what I'm saying. Gravel events. Yeah. But I don't know. How long has this been going on?
5 or 6 years, I think.
Oh, let's go. Let's
I'm pretty sure I saw a documentary on it a couple years ago, and the guy putting the event together. And
well, they have results all the way back to 19.
Okay, so 7 years now.
Yeah, but this says stages, so it was like a stage race.
Well,
back then.
It was a slow burn. The documentary I watched on it was a struggle the first couple years.
Yeah.
And
shit! In 2025, they had a 560K route.
And I'm pretty sure they still do. Yeah.
Oh, no, but it doesn't show the results for it.
Oh, maybe they didn't do
maybe
that.
Maybe.
So it's definitely been a work in progress, and they've made major adjustments each year trying to dial it in.
Yeah.
And I think they've found their formula.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten their traction with the pro racers. I mean, there was a lot of Traka talk this year. They're big on, if I remember right, they're big on the F1 style pit stops as well. That's going to be a big deal at Unbound this weekend. That's a big focus in the elite racing, is getting the 5 second or less pit stops down to a science sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting. Does it have the date of this year's event?
Ooh, let's see.
Because
which event?
The Traka, the Girona, the Spanish one. That was the big one.
I thought I saw January something.
No, it was just.
Oh, this says April 30th.
Okay, that's the one. Okay, yeah, April. That works. Okay, that works out. So I'm playing with a concept. I'm going to pitch it to my friends at 35 and Liberty. Jonas kind of planted the seed in my head when I was at this past weekend's event, where I was talking about the stuff the folks at 35 and Liberty were wanting to do to support cycling and gravel and the USA Trail and stuff like that. And he was like, are they going to maybe put in motel rooms or something like that? And it's like, oh no, there's a Hampton Inn right over there, a La Quinta right behind us. I don't, that's a major expense. They're not going to do anything like that. But he kept pressing it, and he wasn't happy with the Hampton Inn answer. And then I got to thinking about it. You know what they could do at 35 and Liberty is the month of May, they could offer indoor camping, basically a hostel. And all the Euros that are coming over here to get heat acclimated for Unbound Gravel, that would make an ideal hub where 1st of May, they fly into DFW, indoor camping. They can have all the weekday training they want up there in Cook and Montague and all the gravel riding you could possibly want there. But then they could use that as a hub to go do Gravel Locos, rule of 3, and then on up to Unbound.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just a flat fee, because they've got fantastic showers and restrooms there. The food court, the taco place was fantastic. That was killing it. So I'm gonna pitch that concept to them, and if we get,
I like that because they have a lot of open space there.
They have a ton of open space, so
it's not a bad idea.
I'd like to play with it. It would be kind of interesting just to have a swarm of.
How are you going to provide them with any assurances that it's not going to be just a shit show to
provide the mall?
Menu? Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it from their perspective. Like, well, are these guys going to clean up after themselves, or they're going to be? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're not going to stay for free.
No, I get that.
So I mean,
maybe there's a deposit. I don't know.
We hire help.
Yeah,
somebody to babysit them for the month or so. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
A handler,
basically. And I'm guessing most of these Euro racer folks and they're all really nice and polite people. And it's not, they don't go home and roll coal on people and stuff like that.
That's true. That's true.
I bet they'll learn about getting rolled somewhere along the way. But that's been fascinating the past couple of events. This was a first. So we had Red River Riot 2 weeks ago. We had Nordic Tex this past weekend, basically all in that same general area of St. Joe to Munster to Gainesville to Callisburg, our main corridor there. Over 2 weekends, only one arrow missing. That's a first.
Wow.
Usually, I particularly Red River Riot, I can count on half the arrows just being gone.
Yeah. It's slow acceptance.
I don't know. I was happy.
You beat the natives into submission.
I think that's kind of where we're at this point. I've much like most of the gravel industry, I've outlasted them.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing that didn't pop up on my radar, but SRAM wins appeal against UCI gearing rule. Remember we talked about this?
Mm-hmm.
How the UCI all of a sudden put in all these different. They wanted to limit tire size, chainring size, or maximum gearing, and handlebar width, and there was something else.
It was just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So this says
that was essentially they never said it outright, but it was giving favoritism to certain brands of certain products.
Certainly seemed like it, and I think that's what they filed this lawsuit based on. But it says Brussels. Belgium's market court upheld a lower court ruling striking down the UCI's rule limiting the maximum gear in pro road races to a 54/11 ratio. And then SRAM CEO Ken Lausberg called the decision groundbreaking. The court upheld stupid claim.
Yeah, it's a feature, not a bug.
The court upheld the Belgian competition authorities' previous findings that open, transparent, objective, and non-discriminatory governance is the legal standard for rulemaking in sport. Lausberg said in a company statement, while UCI framed its gearing restriction as a safety measure, the science showed it wasn't, and the process used to adopt the rule was deeply flawed. I won't read all of this, but that's pretty interesting because I think we kind of touched on the fact that SRAM had a gearing advantage over Shimano.
With the 10-tooth.
Yeah. And that Shimano was the one that kind of fired this whole thing up and was in somebody's ear or in somebody's pocket and put this whole thing into play. So it's kind of cool to see some justification come out of all this and say, hey, if you want to be a player, if you want to contend, fix your gearing, you know? So it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out, especially we're a month and a half out from Tour de France. So
what are the chances there will be a 32 at the
Zero.
Tour de France?
Zero. I think that road bikes probably should be one of the top applications for 32, but I feel like it's going to be one of the latest, the last to adopt the 32 inch. What are they going to call it? Is it going to be 800? It's going to be, because they're not going to call it 32 inch.
Right.
It's going to be a Euro thing if it's road. But I think that there's going to be a lot of advantages. And I think Austin and I talked about this, not on the last podcast, but on the podcast before. And I think it's going to be one of those things, like if you have two guys on a 32 inch in a pack, it's not going to be that great. But if you get 15 guys in a peloton on 32 inch and they're working together, I don't think a 700C wheel can hold. But that's just strictly speculation and thought, you know.
Except, you know, what about a big sustained climb, those sort of things?
I mean, it's definitely course dependent, you know. But, I mean, obviously when you're in the Alpe d'Huez, you don't want a 32 inch, you know, you're going to want a climbing bike, you know. But we'll see. I think gravel, long format bike packing, and maybe some cross country and road are going to be the best applications for that wheel size. And in time will tell, but That's just my thought process. I've yet to throw a leg over a 32 inch, so I'm just talking.
Now I know, obviously, in the time trial segments that Tour de France, they can do different bikes, but can they switch their basic bike in the road segments?
I don't know what the rules are. I can't even speak to that.
I understand. I'm such a fan of the what bike's the right bike sort of thing. Speaking of which, have you heard any feedback from Rule of Three after the supposed shortening of the single track? I talked to one of my riders this past weekend that was there, but he did the shorter. He did the 100K version, and which in his world, and I don't disagree, 12 to 15 miles or whatever it shook out to, that was still a pretty good portion of a 100K route versus 100. He said he had the full single track that the 100 milers did. Well, that's a squirrel. I thought that was a bird of prey hopping around on something out there, but it's just a squirrel having fun.
So bikes must weigh at least 14.99 pounds, including the frame, wheels, pedals, and all components.
That's why it'll never, because it's an extra 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds now, but let's say at that level, it's at least a pound.
Okay.
Well, of course, a lot of them are adding weight to make the weight minimum, aren't they?
Yes. The frame must be based on a traditional triangle made of tubular elements. Wheel standards: wheels must have at least 12 spokes and meet specific dimensions regarding rim depth and diameter. So
at the moment, it may be restricted out, but if the industry wants it, they're going to change that and say, oh, it can be up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if a 32 came into the Tour out of nowhere? What if that's the card Specialized is holding?
That would be, you talk about shaking shit up.
That would disrupt.
Hey, how great would a 32-inch be on the pavé sections?
Ooh.
I mean, Paris-Roubaix?
That would be a game changer for Paris-Roubaix.
Well, I mean, that just popped in my head. But
that would be a game changer for Paris-Roubaix.
If nobody's thinking about it, they should be.
They have to be.
Hopefully they are.
They have to be. And maybe that's what the whole game's been this whole time. That's the new Specialized Roubaix.
That would be a hell of a play.
I might actually have to buy that.
That would be a hell of a play.
I know a Specialized dealer.
Yeah, same. Wonder if we could extort some information out of him.
I think we would have heard about it if he knew something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. He would have hinted at least.
Yeah.
We're overdue. We need to go visit him.
He's not open on Monday, which is good for him. I'm happy.
Right. Well, but he's there every Monday, as it is, generally speaking. Maybe our 6-8 episode, if he's going to be there, maybe that'll be. I'll try to have her meet us there.
That'd be cool. I saw a video that Rebecca posted. They rode. What's the name of that trail?
Rebecca.
His wife.
Oh, Becky. Okay. Or Becca.
Corinth. They rode Corinth Trail, and she was mic'd up and had a camera, and it was adorable. She was wee, and the video starts with they're rolling around like, just waiting to dip into the trail, and she goes, "Hey, nice bike, brother." And it just goes in this brother montage with Hulk Hogan and all this. It was greatness. I watched that video like 3 times.
She's got some social media game.
Yeah, it was so fun. I hope that she does more of that.
I mean, but how? They're so busy.
I know, but they don't have children.
Well, they've got dogs.
Yeah, that's true.
They have dogs. I mean,
badass dogs.
I'm not equating dogs to children, but there's still devotion time involved.
Sure. But
I mean, she's a firefighter, so that that takes a lot of time when she is doing the firefighter stuff. You know how that goes.
Oh.
So what's your plan for the rest of the day? We're doing this on Memorial Day morning, guys.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah. I honestly, last night we were laying on the couch, my mom and Paula and I, and she's like, "Do you have any plans tomorrow?" And I said, "No, I'm planning on doing as little as possible tomorrow." And then I woke up this morning, I was like, "Oh shit, we're podcasting today." Because I literally turned my alarm off last night. So,
What you got going this weekend?
nothing. I have no dinners or anything. It is getting time for me to start checking salamis and weighing them
Okay.
and seeing if how close they are. I cannot wait. That's the hardest part, is the waiting.
It's a song.
Yeah. Waiting is I don't know. But I've been into 3 dry aged steaks now, or 3 dry aged loins that have been processed. I have 2 remaining ribeyes left, and that's it. And I've enjoyed every one of them I've tried. You had yours? You said you did
I enjoyed
reverse
it.
sear,
Mm-hmm.
cast iron.
No, broil. We
Broiled it, yeah, super good. I've enjoyed them. The Wagyu one that I just cut was so good, but I think, I have to admit that you changed my thought process on something. I've been of the mind previously, when it comes to sous vide cookery, that once it gets to temp, we're good. Like once your water bath equalizes and you let it go for like an hour or so, good. I hadn't previously entertained the longer cook time at the sustained temperature to kind of help break everything down, but I'm entertaining that now, because I think there was 2 things that I would have changed with this Wagyu ribeye preparation this last time. I want to let them go longer than 35 days. This last one was 35 days.
Okay.
And I want to sous vide them at least twice as long. I think I did these for about 2 hours. And I want to let them go for like 5 hours and see if it makes a difference. In fact, I'm probably going to cook these last 2 at 5 or 6 hours and see if it makes a big difference. You know what I may do? Since I have 2 steaks, I may do one.
Do 1 for 5, do 1 for 7.
Oh, for 7.
7's my sweet spot for steaks. That's where I like to
Really?
be. But 5,
Does it not fall apart?
no. It just gets more tender.
I'm going to do 1 for 7 and do 1 for like 3.5.
Okay.
So I want to see how big of a difference it is.
That's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
My experience has been 5 is about where you notice that tenderness difference, and 7 seems to be peak. 10, it starts breaking down.
Huh. I would have never. I mean, it's not like I've not done a lot. When I do sous vide and I don't know something, where I'm thinking like, okay, what temperature should I cook an egg in sous vide for it to be a soft coddle, and how long do I need to cook it? Then I'll look up something. But I've not done a lot of research and reading on how long to sous vide a steak, for example.
Understood.
So,
And if you prove me wrong, I'm
not saying you're wrong.
no.
I'm just saying it.
If your results differ, I want to hear it.
It was previously not even in my thought process. So I thank you for. It was just happenstance conversation, but it really stuck in my head, and I've been turning it over and over.
I get it. I'm not sure. Somewhere along the way, when I did my initial research on it, one of the Michelin chefs that started the whole sous vide revolution.
Squirrel. I think it was a squirrel. Sorry.
Not making that noise, was
I
it?
think so.
That was squirrel? Okay. He talked about eggs versus fish versus beef.
Yeah.
And where fish is like, when you hit temp with fish, you're done.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
I've tried fish a couple of times, and it's not it doesn't produce the result that I want it to. I think if you did it with something like a sea bass or like a sturdier fish, like a swordfish.
I'm about to say, swordfish is awesome. I've done swordfish, and it was awesome.
I imagine swordfish.
But we're
is
not allowed to
probably
eat
the perfect
swordfish
candidate.
anymore. So.
Are we not?
Supposedly.
They'll just change the name.
Man, I love swordfish. I love a good swordfish steak.
The problem with swordfish is it's so easy to fuck it up. And so many people fuck it up. Because it's like chicken. it has to be cooked to the right temperature. But if you go just barely over, it's trash.
Yep.
So that's why I say
Same with
the
gator tail.
sous vide, yeah, the sous vide could be perfect for
Sous
swordfish.
vide gator tail.
No, that would work. That would 100% work.
Ooh.
But you know what I want to do that I've been thinking about for years? So I want to get a baby gator. Sorry, PETA. And I want to deep fry it. That's
Okay.
what I want to do.
Okay. You mean the whole gator?
The
or-
whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of ideas in cooking, since we're obviously not going to talk about bikes anymore, I'm toying with the idea of opening an authentic po' boy shop.
Oh, my God. Yes, please.
Yeah. Gage and I had like a 4-hour long conversation on the way home. I mean, we laid out the restaurant, we identified all the equipment, we crunched numbers, we talked staffing, we talked
Oh,
profit
man,
margins.
We could film a real life reality show version of The Bear.
Yeah, we talked about bread recipes, preparation techniques.
I'm Richie.
I'm really struggling to find a reason not to do it.
Where would you do it?
That's the biggest thing.
That's a huge thing around
And that's
here.
one of the reasons I want you to go to Wardo's, because I think in my summation, the bread is paramount, but
Okay.
also location. And I don't mean where it's located. I mean the physical building. Like I was telling Gage, I don't want to try to replicate a New Orleans nostalgic feel in a strip shopping center. I want to, ideally, if money was no object,
But money's an object.
yeah, it is. But I would rescue a 100-year-old house plus that was fit to be torn down,
Right.
and transplant it and put it on 377 somewhere, and then build it out, refurbish it, and create it, turn it into the po' boy shop.
Yeah, but we got to be realistic. We got to be practical.
Yeah, but it would be cheaper than buying or building a new building, or at least commensurate, but it would have character, and we would have saved something from the landfill.
I don't dispute that.
Maybe that's just my inner hippie.
I'm just the pragmatic,
Why are you going to be so fucking practical?
because I want you to be successful with
No.
it. I mean, that's the bane of business around here, is commercial real estate is so crazy expensive here,
No.
and it's almost impossible. I'm not trying to poo-poo I would love to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
I think trying to pull it off on 377, there's just not going to be a property that you could access that
Would be cost effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a sandwich shop of any kind.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, I'm not going to tell you all the numbers that we arrived at, but I based once again, this was just spitballing and calculator
No, I get it.
numbers, and
I get it.
I based it off of selling 200 sandwiches a day
Okay.
and only being open 4 days a week, and it would be highly profitable.
Did you plug in
Actual numbers.
a rental rate?
I based my rent at $4,000 a month,
Okay.
and then utilities at $1,000
A grant. So five.
$5,000.
Five.
Yeah, that was, and I tried to keep everything conservative. I based it at $15 a sandwich, and
Man, 200's aggressive.
You think so?
I think so, but I don't know.
I mean, obviously, we wouldn't open up day one and sell 200 sandwiches.
I get
But the
that.
idea would be to just skirt that number of selling out every day. You know what I mean? And inch up to that. It's okay for the first 3 months if we sell out every day and we have to make just a little bit more bread. I don't want to close up shop and have 70 loaves left over. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Ciro's Heroes in Grapevine, they're no more.
Right.
But he was open for decades, and he was only open like 11 to 3 days a week or something.
Yeah, but he had no rent. The property had been paid for 50 years ago.
That's fair. But
and they still have the best
yeah,
sandwiches.
but he made his own bread,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
the whole thing.
God, I mean, why'd you have to bring up Ciro's, man?
Because it was it was something that I want to take a piece of and emulate.
I agree. Unfortunately, the world we're in doesn't allow for that type of thing right now.
Well,
I'm not saying it can't.
Yeah.
Let's find a way to make it happen.
But where can you find a decent po' boy 50 miles from here?
None that I'm aware of at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. And even if you can find a decent po' boy, it's not a dedicated po' boy shop. That's what I'm getting at.
I get that.
I'm talking super limited menu, limited sides, hand-cut fries, battered onion rings, homemade coleslaw, homemade mayonnaise, homemade remoulade, homemade bread, cure our own meats for muffaletta, make our own olive mix,
Hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to put a fly in your ointment by any stretch of the imagination.
No, you're good.
Hypothetically, what would be the downside of starting it out as a food truck?
There's a lot of moving parts to muscle into a food truck. I mean, you would absolutely 100% have to use a commissary kitchen because you're not baking 200 loaves in a food truck. And I'm talking about, and plus in my mind, the way it's...
No, you wouldn't bake it at the food truck.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You'd have to use a commissary.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could execute it because you could run everything off of a griddle or a panini style press.
I mean, you could bake here and have loaves shuttled sort of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. I mean...
Let me explain why I'm throwing that out there.
Oh, because you wanted a Spinistry event.
No. Now that you bring it up, I would love that, but that wasn't that. I had that thought
I
hadn't crossed my mind. So
for once.
No, not you. Here's my concern with what where's a real po' boy shop within 50 miles? I agree with you. My concern is where's a location that people that want that po' boy shop within 50 miles are willing to drive to.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I've learned differently, but it still has to be built in maybe not the ideal location, but a correct location. And that would be my big. What the food truck allows you to do is test different areas.
Markets, yeah,
that's all I'm getting at.
Well, and my thought process is this would not be an overnight thing.
Agreed. Which is also another reason the food truck has your test bed, has viability, and just the way I would look at it. The other option is just to find the cheapest place possible, just to play with and experiment with and see how that does to actually draw people.
That's a lot of equipment to purchase because the way, in my mind, the way it would work is find the building, then configure the kitchen. Meaning you can't just buy a bunch of equipment and figure out how to get it in a building.
So what equipment do you need that's different from a typical restaurant or whatever?
So we ran down the equipment list. Got to have a stand mixer. Well, not a stand mixer, but a industrial mixer for dough.
Yeah, a dough mixer.
Yeah. Got to have a proofing oven. Got to have a steam capable convection oven. At least 4 fryer baskets, one for fries and onion rings and one for seafood. Flat top. I wouldn't mess with a grill. Got to have a cold station, cold storage below, a minimal freezer, like a reach-in freezer.
So you find a pizza joint that's shut down and add fryers.
Yeah. But they're bringing back all the Pizza Huts, I hear.
Are they?
Somebody's on a tear to resuscitate the Pizza Hut brand.
Okay.
Complete with all the nostalgic, the red Coca-Cola cups and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. There's other pizza joints that have struggled. I get the idea of the cool location. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So what? You're gonna sell your first sandwich in spring of 27?
I don't know. So my thought process is, why I said this, because I really do want to be in Argyle. And I know you're trying to say, well, location is everything, but I think, and let me build this out real quick.
I'm listening.
Because my thought process would be 377 is about to be a nightmare once they get all that construction going. And I would like to be working on our restaurant. I would like to figure out when they project they're going to be done with 377, add on about 4 months, and then backtrack my timeline to start construction, building out, figuring everything out up to that time. So when 377's open and going, we're open and going instead of us trying to.
You're talking 4 or 5 years down the road then.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't want to open up a restaurant on 377. That's why none of those properties on 377 are selling right now or
Right.
leasing, because everybody knows that 377 is about to be a clusterfuck.
Right. No, agree.
More so than it already is.
Right.
You know.
No, I agree.
But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely appreciate the preference to stay close to home.
I mean, Roanoke's a valid option as well, because they already have a great dining atmosphere, you know? And maybe, I don't know what their food court sitch down there?
Ooh.
That might be a thought, but I don't know how much traffic that place gets.
Well,
And I don't know what rent is there a month.
I bet it's reasonable. You know, we need to go there and have a beer again soon.
We should. Because that would be a good proof of concept without taking on.
I think you found it right there.
I think that could work.
And they got beer.
Yeah. And that would, because Gage and I talked about all of this. So in order to,
Actually, I think they had a po' boy restaurant there at one time.
well, there's
There's Bayou Jack's is right next door.
But in order to keep the nostalgic feel, I want to do no POS. I want to do a ticket system, a call system, and do something similar to like All Shucks. You know how All Shucks handles, I don't know if they still do it, but it's an honor system. Like you order your food, and when you get done, you go up and you pay for it. Hey,
Okay.
I had 2 beers and 4 pounds of crawfish, and then they ring you up and they send you on your way.
Okay.
So they're not running a POS. They don't have ticket printers in the kitchen going crazy. You got a girl taking the order. She gives the ticket. Hey, I got 3 catfish po' boys fully dressed, walking in, you know. And then just to keep the nostalgia feel, which I think we're all starved for right now, you know.
I'm going to disagree with you there. Don't give her.
So you want a robot back there making your po'
I
boy?
don't know. I want that same experience.
You want an AI po' boy?
I don't know. I don't think there's a market demand for it though. But I could be wrong. I would be happily proven wrong.
But I think it cuts overall costs. It increases communication. It forces your team to work as a team. It will be harder to ramp up, but once you get the system in place, it'll be beautiful. And you've got less opportunity for failure in the long run. And you're not beholden to some POS company that's taking a percentage of your sales and docking you and everything else. So, I mean, in my mind, I already have everything kind of plotted out. And it's going to be hard to convince me otherwise.
Well,
I mean, if it's going to be my baby, it's going to be my baby.
I get that. I get that.
And I always said I'd never open another restaurant, but I've been thinking about this for 6 months easily. And I've just been turning it over in my brain in my spare time, you know.
All right. So you said 200 sandwiches a day, 4 days a week, right?
That's the thought process. And then, so the biggest cog in the wheel here is, how do I do that and keep FAM running? Which I told Paul, I said what we would probably do initially is just close one day early once a month and do FAM dinners, you know.
So the 4 days a week that you're thinking of being open, what 4 days are those?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Close Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's my thought process.
And what hours would be the open hours?
That's a good question, because I think it's a daytime spot. It's a, you know,
Is it though?
10 to 3, 10 to 4.
You're getting into that travel concern
Yeah.
I have.
Well, and maybe it's open at 11, close at 8,
Right.
I don't know. Because there's a lot of work that has to be done on the back end. Like
So would you?
Ideally, you would be making and proofing tomorrow's bread today. And then when the person comes in the morning, they're firing off the bread for that day. And then the process starts over again.
So would you offer a delivery option, or is that too anti?
Well, I mean, there's DoorDash and all that shit,
But would you make it available that way?
I think you today's market, you have to.
Oh, okay. Well, you were talking about going retro, and
We could still do retro,
okay, all right. Well, you were so anti POS and everything like that.
Well,
so-
I am. But
Okay, I'm just making sure.
we could work.
That's
could figure
how.
out how to work it
No,
around.
that's how. Okay, that's your food truck. That's your test of concept, and you do it out of Roanoke. You do it based on delivery. You find the hours that people are wanting these sandwiches.
That's true.
You find your price point, and that's your proof of concept there.
Yeah.
And you'll see where, 80% of the people are in Keller that are wanting this,
Yeah.
or 80% are in Grapevine, or
Yeah.
whatever else
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I think Roanoke's a better location for testing the concept. It
is the dining capital.
Don't do that to me. It's such a bullshit slogan. And
And I want to steal. I just popped into my head, but I would love to do. I can't remember what liquor store it is, but I saw they said the second best liquor store in the area.
that's yes,
And I was like, nobody's going to dispute that.
nobody's
Nobody's
gonna
going to argue with
that.
you. So I'd love to do that. Go the second best po' boy shop.
Man, I'm tempted to go through downtown Roanoke on the way home and check on that place. I think that's a good fit, to be honest with you.
I like that idea. And then I've even toyed with names already, but I don't want to put any of those out.
Okay,
But-
that's fair.
Like I said, I'm really trying to find multiple reasons.
Spinach Street
not
Po'
to
Boys,
do it.
right?
No,
Oh, Shiftless Po' Boys.
definitely not going to be shiftless po' boys. Speaking of food and bicycles, here's a fun tie-in. I had a gentleman from Kansas City, Missouri, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, reach out to me on Instagram, and he's a cyclist and runs a catering business called Food Peddler, and he's Food Peddler on Instagram.
Mhm.
He reached out to me and we were messaging, and he's like, I'd love to pick your brain about how to grow my business and what your concept is and how do you garner customers.
He's a listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he sent me a bag of merch. He sent me a
Nice.
hat. I should be wearing my fucking hat today.
Well, you should.
Sitting right there on the table.
We'll do it next week.
Yeah. And sent me a stack of stickers. In fact, I'll give you a couple of stickers. Sent me a hat. And
I thought I forwarded you his information a while back.
maybe I've been dreaming of po' boys, my friend.
I understand. No, I get it.
I had to pull
When I
back.
say a while back, it was a
Yeah.
long time ago that he reached out to us originally.
I had to pull back the curtain a little bit. I've been overly occupied
okay,
with
wait a
this
minute.
concept.
All right, I'm going to tie you to this. So you're taking your mom back in a couple weeks?
Mhm.
Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm going to get milk this week and start making cheese. That's what's on my.
I want to
agenda.
drag your ass out to Minden to meet that guy. I sent you his information that's doing the gravel event out there, and he's got
Minden, Louisiana.
Okay. He's got his restaurant and everything.
Yeah, I want to see that place.
I want to check that place out. We need
How about this? We can figure this out, but let your brain work for a second because I'm taking her back somewhere around that weekend of the 6th. Do you have an event that weekend?
not the weekend of the 6th. No.
So, what if I met you in Minden on the way back from Natchez?
That's a possibility.
Let's try to make that happen because I can work with your schedule. I can format our schedule to where it works.
Let's play with that idea.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember that guy's name, but
Do they do po' boys?
I'm pretty yes.
Hopefully.
I'm 99% sure Po' Boys were part of his
Okay.
routine.
I looked at it briefly.
I looked at it briefly, but it was deep enough to go, oh, yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it in person.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's work that out.
All right. I think that's a good place to end today.
Hey, and you know what? We could do a podcast from there.
You're smart.
This is like 3 birds, 1 stone.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
How's your bike riding been going?
It's non-existent.
Mine as well.
I feel like a what do they call it in the skater world? Poser. I feel like a poser.
We got to fix that. We
Yeah.
got to fix it. I'm going to do something about that this afternoon. It may only be 15 minutes around the neighborhood, but I'm going to do something this afternoon.
We're supposed to ride tomorrow, regardless of trail status. I think there's going to be a TNBG.
Okay.
So
Send off the folks.
go ride your bike.
Go ride your bikes. And
Do what I say, not as I do.
we're going to fix that for both of us. Happy holidays, everybody. And
Thank you to everybody that has served.
yes, sir. Exactly.